I was a little unsure about whether I was going to continue The Ends of the World, but because I found the first 60 pages or so a bit difficult, I went back and reread 30 of the pages to just try and, figure out what was going on. And I am enjoying it. I've continued into another 60 pages, but there's so much information. It is definitely a book where if you've got some prior knowledge about how carbon and oxygen and photosynthesis and all that sort of thing, not just that, but carbonification goes, just some of these processes from biology. It helps with the reading. It's not a book for people just exploring it for the first time. And I'm in the Devonian section, the sort of next stage of crisis, and there are so many ways that extinction took place in that period. It's like you need to know about 15 different kinds of sea systems. Anyways, it is a challenge, and I don't think I would recommend it for beginners of explore. Yeah, there are other books that I would go for if this is your first time dipping into it. Ta-ta! Hi, another round of 60 seconds. Today I am reading John Green's The Anthropocene Reviewed, and this is a difficult book to read 60 pages for at a go. They are very short little essays. They are almost philosophical discussions on something like the Hall of Presidents or Staphylococcus or running shoes, and he quite often within that essay has a second thing that he's considering along at the same time. So I'm making this up, but maybe stars or shoelaces. And so the two, he does a sort of compare and contrast. He quite often has an interpersonal experience with one or the other or both. And then he ranks them in terms of their benefit or attraction to humans, or they are the contrast, like the detriment to humans. So it's kind of an interesting little pattern of essays, and I enjoy it, but I do usually only read 2 or 3 at a go. So it's more of 60 seconds. So it's more of I can't make it stop. So it's more of a thing that you might read. I'm enjoying reading it at lunchtime or just before bed, something like that, where you don't really want to be concentrating too hard. And I do think his writing style is interesting, but the structure of the essays is pretty much the same each time. So there's not a lot of variety in terms of approach to the subject matter. Another 60 seconds. This time I'm talking about the mudlark. What I really like that she's doing is giving some history of the different objects that she searches for on the sides of the Thames. Went through fairly long description of pipes and the history and how it was so expensive to begin with, that the bowls were quite small, because you could only have a few shreds of tobacco until eventually over time it became less and less expensive. So that was kind of interesting. She's also gone into some explanation about the longest lasting, or that's the wrong way of phrasing it, the oldest the oldest wharf that exists pre-Roman time. It's Queenhithe, and it's a registered piece of land, but nobody's really looking after it. And there's, I guess, from modern days down to Roman times, it's like 20 feet worth of mud and silt and debris, and so different levels reveal different kinds of artifacts, but also the mud and the churning and so forth. Eventually things just come up. And there goes the bell. Bye. Because I can't be improving my mind all the time, I am also reading the Thursday Murder Club by Richmond Osman, which I am really enjoying so far. I think that it's going to be a good read all the way through, unless the ending is disappointing, which sometimes happens in murder mysteries. But it's about a bunch of elderly people. I mean, like, I'm 61, so it's kind of my age group. And they're living in a retirement home, and they've got this club on Thursday nights where they investigate cold case murders. Someone has been able to bring the files of these cold cases. And I'm just discovering that there is a murder within the grounds. No, not within the grounds, but within the circle of people that these elderly people know. And I, like, it sounds funny saying elderly. They're not really elderly. Anyway, so far so good, and I'm reading that between all of the nonfiction. Bye-bye.